We're 3 movies into this, and that's what I'm talking about. We might have something going with these 3 movies. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex. Today I'm going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite against a powerful new adversary, Shadow, a mysterious villain with powers unlike anything they have ever faced before. With their abilities outmatched in every way, Team Sonic must seek out an unlikely alliance in hopes of stopping Shadow and protecting the planet from the Death Star. Yeah, this movie has Sonic's version of the Death Star, and I'll talk more about that in a spoiler review. Yeah, I'm going to do a spoiler review for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Never thought I would ever get to that point in life where I'd be doing a spoiler review for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but let me tell you this, the fans went crazy at my screening. It was press and general public. The general public, all the Sonic fans went nuts in the mid-credit scene for this movie, so I definitely got to do a spoiler review, and if you could tell, I'm really giddy about this movie because I liked it. I'm not saying that this is a perfect movie or anything. I'm not saying this is one of the best movies of the year, but these Sonic movies, they just keep getting better and better and better. They are loosely based on the game. I know that there's elements that piss off people about these movies, but at the same time, it's like they've really found their niche. They just know how to be really fun and entertaining, and that's what I like about Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is why this is probably my personal favorite of the Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy so far. I'm really giddy talking about this. I really enjoyed this. I thought that out of the 3, this is probably the best one. I think the story all across the board for the entire trilogy, this one included, is really messy. If you look at the first 20 minutes of this movie, it's really trying to juggle so many plot lines and set up so many plot lines and set up so many different characters, where it's like, how are we actually going to be able to tackle all of this? So the first 20 minutes feels really jumbled, it feels really messy, but then there's a chase scene between Sonic and Shadow that really gets the movie going, and from there it's a full-on high-octane action adventure with Sonic and the rest of his team going up against Shadow and Robotnik. I had a blast watching this movie from start to finish, and I think that this is the best paced of the Sonic movies. I think it goes by the quickest of the Sonic movies. The first one's the shortest for sure, but the second one had that middle section in like Siberia that I know is connected to the plot in every way, shape, and form. I just thought that that sequence just dragged the second movie down a little bit. It was just a middle lull. This movie doesn't really hit that. After it stumbles out of the gate, it really hits the ground running. This one has probably my favorite action scenes of any of the Sonic movies, and I think that that's because a lot of it involves Shadow, and I really like what they did with Shadow. Keanu Reeves is perfect as Shadow. He doesn't have to say a lot as Shadow, and even when he's in scenes where Shadow has a lot to say, it's not like they're giving him soliloquies, because we all know Keanu Reeves is just that kind of actor where if you have to have Keanu act, it's gonna be awful. But if you have to have him say like short lines here and there, or just one-liners here and there, and just have him shoot people in the face like he does for a bunch of hours in the John Wick series, then he is great. And there's a perfect balance here where he has short lines, he has some longer lines, but he's never given soliloquies. He's never given the Wonder Woman Gal Gadot soliloquies. Thank God. And he's really perfect as Shadow. He's menacing. He's got this brooding sense to him. He's dark. He's maniacal. You understand the motivation of Shadow. You understand where he's coming from. A lot of this movie shows Shadow's perspective on this whole situation, why he's doing what he's doing, why he's the main antagonist of the movie, and you clearly get where he's coming from. And I think that he has been the best antagonist of this entire trilogy so far. Not to take anything away from Jim Carrey as Robotnik, but I think Jim Carrey in this movie for Robotnik for me, and I understand that it's a video game character. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be cartoony, but it was just going a little too cartoony in this. That's where much of the humor for this movie lies, is with Robotnik and his grandpapa, the other Robotnik, who's also played by Jim Carrey, Gerald Robotnik. A lot of that humor felt flat for me, and a lot of the humor for Sonic also fell flat for me, because I feel like they're just trying to force it into a lot of scenes now, but there are some good jokes. There's one that Robotnik makes about the 2011 Green Lantern movie that had me in stitches. I was dying laughing. But also, the movie is able to juggle tones very well. It knows how to be this fun Sonic the Hedgehog adventure, and then it knows how to be this, I don't want to say this darker tone, but it definitely has this more somber, serious tone to it. and an angrier tone to it. A theme of revenge throughout this entire thing, but also a theme of making the right choice and believing that the choice that you make is the right choice. And that's a really cool message to hammer home to kids, man. Going back to the action for a minute, I liked every action scene in this movie. All the action was really fun. Of course, it has that over the top, overextended third act action scene that, of course, is just gonna overstay its welcome. But even then, I have to give a pass to a movie that has a really overextended third act action scene, because they all have them now. Every action movie's gonna have them. The main complaint is that these movies drag on too long, and this movie isn't as long as the second one, but it is longer than the first one and feels just right, you know? And even though I know that there's gonna be complaints where the third act feels like it overstays its welcome, it never does. Every action scene in this movie felt like the story called for it. It felt like the tone called for it. And I haven't really seen this from a Sonic movie yet. I'm not really well versed in Sonic lore either, so I really don't know how the games go. I've only played Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast back in like 2000, 2001. NBA 2K, you create your own team as the Hedgehogs, and the mascot and the logo was Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, I own that shit. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 surprisingly has a lot of heart. There's some unpredictable twists and turns within the story, but it also does try to balance that out with predictable twists and turns, and those you see coming from a mile away. But I guess the unpredictable moments of twists and turns relied in how much heart that this movie actually has when you look at the message deep down below. So, like I was saying before about choices and what you believe is the right choice, that's really the heart and soul of the movie, even if it comes across in this angrier, somber tone about revenge. And it has a lot to say about revenge, how maybe revenge isn't justified. This one for me, even though we are going up against a Star Wars like Death Star type of thing that I'll get more into in the spoiler review, I do think that this one for me had the best story, which might be sacrilegious to a lot of people since the second one did have the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald. I know that that's a big thing in Sonic the Hedgehog lore. I just resonated with this one more. Once it got past those choppy first 20 minutes, this movie took off for me and I had an absolute blast from start to finish. Also, the mid-credits scene. If you are a massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan, I sat there in complete silence, not knowing what the hell was going on or who the hell was showing up. My theater erupted. Like, it was like another Boston team won a championship or something. It was like, I have to go back and watch my review for Spider-Man Far From Home, but I think I described something in that review as well, and it's the same exact feeling. There were so many Sonic fans in my audience tonight, and when they saw something in the mid-credit scene, they went ballistic. It was awesome. I'm not going to sit here and say these Sonic movies are pieces of art or anything. They're just fun movies, and they found their little niche. These are the types of video game movies that can be made. You can't make a movie out of The Last of Us. The easiest way to adapt something like The Last of Us is on TV, but with something like Sonic or Super Mario, you can take different types of mediums, animation, live action, and create movies like this that are just pure fun and entertainment that borrow from the games but don't necessarily follow every single storyline of the game franchise. And I think Sonic has really found its niche in doing that. I really enjoyed Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with 3/4 of a bucket of popcorn. So once you guys do see Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it is out this weekend. This is an early review for you. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.